cell phone. Jay's right here. I know, you got a cell phone number.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our public hearing. My name is Jennifer Maxey. I'm the mayor of the city of North Adams. Thank you so much for coming out. If you haven't signed in, could you please make sure you do so before meeting tonight? We're going to go through the format of the meeting, and we'll provide everyone an opportunity tonight to speak. You'll have to come forward and go to the mic so we can pass the mic to people if that's easier. But we ask people to stand, give your name and address, including your community, for the record, and we'll give you about 2 or 3 minutes. So this isn't really a Q&A. It's an opportunity for you to talk about public access, the importance of public access, and maybe some concerns that you have with Spectrum about service. We all know we're very concerned about pricing, but that doesn't play in this format. But if you have a concern, of course, express that. So this is your opportunity to basically say pretty much what you want about charter and the service that you get. Okay? So those are the game rules. So now we'll get serious. So this meeting will be recorded. So welcome tonight, everyone.
Eric, you check your microphone, sorry.
I did all that. Okay. Thank you. And if at any time during the meeting you can't hear me, please just wave at me and I'll try to talk a little bit louder. So welcome. This public hearing is regarding the renewal of the cable television license Spectrum Charter Communication Agreement in North Adams, as well as the town of Adams, Cheshire, and Clarksburg. The purpose of this proceeding is to continue to identify the future cable-related community needs and interests, as well as review the performance of the cable operator under our current cable contract. The current cable contract license with Spectrum in the city of North Adams was issued on October 1st, 2014, and runs through September 30th, 2024. This hearing is being held to further the goals of the Federal Cable Act. Public notice of this proceeding was published in accordance with the applicable law and regulations accordingly. And we are hereby recording this proceeding not only on Zoom but through the television station. We welcome the leadership teams of the town of Adams, Clarksburg, the city of North Adams. Thank you, counselors, for joining us tonight. And also in attendance tonight is Jennifer Young, who is the Director of State Government Affairs for Charter Communications. Welcome, Jennifer. Ms. Young will be online with us to observe the proceedings as part of the ascertainment process. As such, Ms. Young will not speak, she will not answer questions, but she will take all of your input. Ms. Young, if there is an event that you would like to respond, please just chime in at any time. We truly appreciate you being here, and we hope that you listen to us with an open mind as we go through these proceedings. Never has community television been more important, especially public, educational, and government access, or its contributions more recognized and appreciated. Democracy would have died for almost a year during COVID if we did not have the actions and assistance of community television. Now more than ever, it is in the best interest of cities and towns to do their part to help PEG access providers such as our own Northern Berkshire Community Television to continue to provide strong public, educational, and governmental access for their operations, training, and programming for our communities. This type of programming helps support and grow the local economy and businesses, provides a wide range of SED institutions and groups, and the arts and cultural entertainment. It also shows and demonstrates sports and spiritual life in our community. Public, educational, and government operations and programming connect residents, businesses, and government. The city, with its residents and businesses, not only through community television, but also through awareness. This is the time that we need to work together to ensure that public access continues. And we also need to continue to know that our cable contract is fair to our residents. Now is the time for all of us to work together, not only to preserve, grow, and expand what we already have, but to continue to move ahead in a world and environment where video and telecommunications are increasingly important and instrumental in how we interact. That work includes, but is not limited to, continuing to put together and build the foundation of the tools for both hybrid and remote participation for meetings and events, together with in-person experiences that reflect the best interest of our communities, its residents, and our businesses. Right now, I'd like to introduce special counsel for our communities tonight, William Solomon. Bill, would you like to come up?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Very well stated. North Adams and the surrounding towns, Clarksburg, Cheshire, Adams, are very special places. I've worked in cable for 30 years, and when I go across the Commonwealth, I give the Northern Berkshires and Northern Berkshire Community Television the credit for being one of the leading programs that reflects the hard work that the residents of your communities put in to make sure you have a local economy and you have local culture and local sports where people connect. You work together to make a wonderful community here, and I think community television reflects that and reflects your efforts. I'm just going to say one thing about tonight. Oftentimes you'll go to a public meeting and someone will say something, and then someone else will say the same thing, and you'll say, gee, we've heard this twice, I'm not going to get up and say the same thing. But this is the one time where hearing from everybody makes the difference. The Cable Act incentivizes communities, cities and towns to figure out what's important. And we have here a company that has folks, Charter, that are on the ground who are here and listening to what your concerns are. So that if two people get up and say something and everyone else decides not to say that, we will sit down with Charter going forward and say something's important, and the Charter representative could say, well, only one person said that, or two people said that, and there might have been 10 people here. So you can keep your comments as brief as you like, but what's important, if you have something to say, this is an amazingly great opportunity to be heard and to make a difference in the cable license negotiations. So thank you for being here, as the mayor said, and we look forward to hearing your comments tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call upon Executive Director of the North Berkshire Community Television, Dave Fabiano.
Thank you, Mayor, for inviting me here tonight, and Jay and the other communities. My name is Dave Fabiano. I live in Canaan, New York, which is about an hour away. I didn't do a lot of research when I took the job here in North Adams, but I've been in this town, working in this city for almost 40 years now, and so obviously I love it. I am the Executive Director of Northern Berkshire Community Television Corporation. NBCTC is a 501c3 not-for-profit corporation formed in 1994 as a community, public, educational, and government access organization to help residents produce programming to be cablecast on the local cable system. Organizations such as ours are commonly referred to as PEG or PEG Access Corporations. Our inaugural broadcast was in September of 1995, and since then we have seen steady growth in both quantity and quality of programming and in the capabilities and range of the services we provide. When the current cable television renewal license was last negotiated in 2014, NBCTC was located in Building 6 of Heritage State Park. We were producing programs on standard definition equipment, offering basic nonlinear video editing and recording on digital videotape. We were also quickly outgrowing our space and actively looking for a new home. In early 2015, we purchased the showroom and sales office of the former Gateway Chevrolet dealership at 69 Union Street here in North Adams as a commercial condominium. After extensive renovations, we moved into our new Community Access Center, which boasted not only more space, but also a new, much larger, high-definition television studio, sophisticated computer-based editing, and advanced electronic video storage and playback systems. With our new facility completed, we saw continued and steady growth, not only at our Access Center, but also with our remote studio equipment and portable camera rigs. NBCTC experienced a marked increase in television productions recorded by staff and volunteers in the field. Many local producers were using our new high-definition portable cameras and then editing their shows back at NBCTC. Others would request the use of one of our multiple camera portable studios that allowed up to 4 cameras with full video switching capabilities to be used on location. Our coverage would often include school events such as sports, student performances, guest lecturers, graduations, and award ceremonies. We were also able to provide multiple camera coverage of community events like parades, downtown celebrations, and memorial services. On government access, we would use the rigs for annual town meetings, inaugurations, and candidates forums. In March of 2020, almost every aspect of normal life changed when COVID-19 showed up in Berkshire County. PEG access channels like ours often find themselves undervalued. However, when the pandemic struck, NBCTC demonstrated that community access centers are a critical community resource. NBCTC immediately added software upgrades to our equipment to be able to incorporate Zoom and other meeting platforms directly into our video switching equipment. These upgrades allowed us to carry municipal meetings live on our government access channel, provide options for local schools and Mass College of Liberal Arts to offer distance learning and lectures on educational access, and gave our public access producers an opportunity to continue their shows from home, even with the capability to take live phone call-ins. Additionally, NBCTC ran COVID updates from Governor Baker, local leaders, and Northern Berkshire's local COVID Operations Center, often live. We also ran close to 20 informational public service announcements on the COVID-19 virus. These changes and upgrades did not come cheap and were certainly a strain on our staff, since we were running on reduced hours and with limited personnel allowed in the building at one time. In many cases, we are continuing to offer these new services now that the pandemic is over, and will need significant resources to maintain that goal. It is our expectation to help each of our communities to outfit their meeting rooms with hybrid equipment to allow them to incorporate virtual meeting platforms such as Zoom into their city council or Board of Selectmen meetings, similar to the capabilities that NBCTC has now in our studio. As we approach the start of the next Spectrum license, we continue to request funding sufficient enough to accomplish our expanding goals and demands on our resources. As technology continues to evolve, it is evident that we will need continued investment in our equipment and software. Our studio and remote rigs will need new cameras, video switching, and audio equipment. Our editing computers and broadcast storage infrastructures will need frequent updating as well. We also feel it is time for the programming on all 3 of NBCTC's channels to be transmitted in high definition, on par with the quality local broadcast channels. In addition, we would like our programming to be included in Spectrum's local electronic program guide, which would allow residents to see both current and upcoming programs on our channels. This is made even more important since Spectrum's unfortunate decision in 2018 to move our PEG channels from channels 15, 16, and 17 to channels 1301, 1302, and 1303. Many times I hear of viewers having difficulty entering the 4 digits or not being able to find the PEG access channels at all. We feel that by at least having the local programming listed in the program guide, it will make it easier to find the programs that they are looking for. NBCTC eagerly looks forward to what the next Spectrum cable license can provide to allow us to continue to meet the ever-changing needs of our communities. And we thank the Northern Berkshire community leaders and residents for their continued and unwavering support of Northern Berkshire Community Television. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dave. So now we're really going to turn the program over to the audience. Again, your name, your address, your community, and we'll give you about 3 minutes. But we're going to open it up first to state and local officials, and I'm looking at my colleague across the room from Adams. Would you like to lead us off?
Sure, I'll say a few words. Thank you, Mayor. I'll meet you halfway. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jay Green. I'm the town administrator for the town of Adams, just south of us. At the risk of being repetitive, but Attorney Solomon has advised that's acceptable. Most certainly, there's value for any of us in any of our communities in local government to use the community television to its fullest extent. And COVID was an exact example of that, right on point. In fact, Dave, I think, was the first person we called. Christine Hoyt's with us, chairman of our select board in Adams. I think, Dave, you were the first person to call. Mayor Bernard may have been the second person. But we relied so heavily on Dave and the technology that community television has in order to make sure that people understood that their local government was still functioning despite the trauma and despite not being able to assemble, which is a hallmark of local government. So Dave, thank you for that. And we thank Spectrum for their support as required by law or otherwise for that. The improvements that Dave has mentioned are critical. What we learned from COVID was very much that we need to do a better job. It's more than just turning on the television camera and having a meeting, that there was a thirst that was created during COVID for access in a more comfortable manner or more on-demand manner for what is happening with local government. So many of our own residents in Adams say, I enjoy watching the meetings, but I enjoy watching them on my own schedule. Folks don't know when to be able to tune in, so some of the programming and channel improvements are key. Also, what we've learned, also as a lesson from COVID that's been helpful, is the ability to patch in Zoom or other teleconferencing technology into the meeting. So we can be assembled in our meeting room, such as this. We can have our board assembled, the decision makers, the staff present. Cable television is on and can be watching it from home, but at the same time we can have somebody patched in from, say, the Boston area or another market, and that is saving the taxpayer money because we don't have to pay for time and travel of that consultant to appear. We have the ability to do that now if we're able to patch in with the technology. And I can tell you from attempting to do it, it is not easy. I may not necessarily be the most technologically advanced person. I still listen to records in a reel-to-reel player. I may have an 8-track player in my car. But I can function, and I have to tell you, with all this modern technology, it's even hard, even with an IT support group. So Dave, thank you for what you do with that. I feel as though the town of Adams, most people call and they want to talk about the rates, and we're not able to do that. But I think having reliable technology to be able to broadcast our meetings, of course, being responsive, having the customer service center responsive to the needs of our residents is very critical. But also, we're talking about streaming these days, and I think Dave and the mayor certainly mentioned it. One of the problems that we have is most folks now are not using cable anymore. They're moving to a new media. Used to put the antenna up, put the foil on like my grandparents did, and try to get the signal. Then the cable companies came in, and that made a world of difference. And now we're seeing a lot of people stream. There's so many people that don't know what's happening with their local government because they've lost that ability. They don't read the newspaper anymore. They don't even read iBerkshires. Thank you, Tammy. and they're in a vacuum. And that is because our traditional sources of finding out what happens with local government are gone. And we need to begin to access streaming. And I think that's one of the requests from the town of Adams when we've spoken, is for the cable company to consider including PEG in the streaming app that they have. That would be incredibly helpful for our folks that choose to receive their visible media that way and allow the continued access. Christine, I don't know, is there anything you wanted to add beyond that?
Thank you. As Jay mentioned, my name is Christine Hoyt. I'm chair of the select board in the town of Adams. Happy to be here. As Jay mentioned, NBCTC was our first call in March of 2020. It was actually March 18th of 2020 when we had a regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen meeting, and we didn't know how we were going to offer public access to our meeting when we were told that we had to shut our doors to town hall. And we pivoted that evening, and we just did an update to the community. We suspended our meeting, and we did an update to the community. And it was, is Peter comfortable being in the room with us, knowing that we're not sure what's happening in the world with COVID? Peter is an extension of the Board of Selectmen. That's how I feel about Peter. And we're so grateful for that. I also call NBCTC for the community events that were mentioned. Dave, you mentioned them. The Fall Foliage Parade is one, especially in the last couple of years. People have decided to watch that on community television instead of being with crowds of people. I watch sporting events. When Hoosick Valley is out traveling and participating in sports, I watch community television to watch those. I see Amber is in the back. I watch, the shows that the Community Coalition puts together so that I'm informed. But what isn't helpful, and I will also mention, you did run a Memorial Day special and I think a Veterans Day special for the communities during COVID at a request from all of the community leaders. But as Jay started to mention, access is not available on the streaming apps. So what I'm finding is that in order to get public television, we all have to pay that extra tax of having a box rental in order to access the 1301, 1302, and 1303. So that monthly rental of that box is sometimes a barrier for our residents in order to access community television. And if Spectrum could move that into the streaming app, I think that would give more access to more of our residents, especially those who are on a fixed income, because I do believe that I think it's $8 a box at this point. It's $12.50. My husband gets the bill and he pays it, so I don't know. So I don't know is this the microphone for the community television, or is it for this room?
Just for community television.
Just for community television.
Right.
So I'm sorry that I'm not loud enough. But yeah, so $12.50 a month is really a high tax that people are paying for community television, and it would be great if that could be rolled in.
Great point.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you both. Anyone from my colleagues from the city of North Adams? Councilor Breen.
Let me pick up on that. I'm Peter Breen, I'm city councilor in North Adams. Okay. All righty. I brought my bill that I thought would be kind of important to bring. The first thing is, if we were talking about light in my house, under this hearing, we could only be talking about candles. We can't talk about light bulbs. Same thing, we're talking about cable, but the ground rules, we can't talk about streaming. So we got to think about, we're trying to put together a 10-year contract that is antiquated, that longest contract should be 3 years, so you could review it. And part of the thing is, the question I have is, who controls the 10-year contract? Who makes sure that it's being followed? I checked off 21 things. I won't give all 21 things. I'll work backwards. On my bill, this is my bill, new Spectrum store hours. The Spectrum mobile store is only open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. That violates 2 paragraphs in the contract. it's supposed to be open evening hours or Saturday hours. If you're elderly, you might need a ride in the wintertime to have someone take you down after work. Or if you live in Adams, they require you to get the equipment, bring it down there, and bring the other equipment. That's ridiculous. That's totally ridiculous. So they're not going by the contract at all. And this is right on the bill. It's dated March 1st, 2024. So we can go back to things. What you're talking about is the conversion box. I have 6 grandchildren, so I have to have more than one television because they all want something different. It's $12.50. I pay $75 just for my conversion boxes. Do you realize on one television I don't have to have it because I can just use the remote because I can do the app. So it cost me, we'll say I only had 2, but I don't, I have 6. That's $12.50 a month, that's $150 a year. So if I had one in the living room, one in the bedroom, that's $300 a year. 3 years, it's $900. I can pick them up on the internet for $38 a piece. But Spectrum will not give you the code to play it through. So they're collecting on a $38 piece of equipment, renting, and they keep on increasing the prices. Like it was 8, it's 10, it's 12. It's been sitting in my house for 12 years, never mind, $12. That's a ripoff. $900 for 2 receivers. They're supposed to be, according to the contract, deliver the product. The conversion box, it's a conversion box. They're not delivering it to TV. You used to be able to put it in with the cable in the back. Now you have to use a different device. They used to have the AB one. So this shouldn't be charged. There should not be a rental of the conversion box. They don't charge for the booster. They don't charge for the AB. This box, really, they should be refunding all that money back. Because you're taxing mostly elderly. They're not going to buy a new flat screen TV. But we're paying that kind of money for this. The other thing is, I do a lot of traveling. I go down to North Carolina. They got the best deal, $1 a channel per house. You know what the company is named down there? Spectrum. I go down and visit my aunt and uncle down in Port St. Lucie. They have neighborhood deals with Spectrum, $62. Areas of 50 to 60 homes. Why are we paying $201? You can stream it for $39. Just Google it. It's $39 anywhere else. It's ridiculous. And then you talk about schools. The same way I taught for 30 years, the same way that brought the cable and brings the internet. Spectrum charges the schools for the internet. In our antiquated thing, it says we'll provide you a connection and 1 converter. So I have a very big problem with who's enforcing it. You know, it's been Cox, Adelphia, Time Warner, what's the name now? Spectrum, Comcast. Okay, my thing is cost and service. And the contract should be 3 years, and we should have a minimum of maybe 4% increase of any prices. If you look at these prices over 10 years, they've gone up 600%. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Counselor Breen. Counselor Sapienza?
Yes. I'll grab this mic.
Oh, sorry.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Councilor Sapienza, 113 Pleasant Street, North Adams. First of all, I want to congratulate Mr. Fabiano on the quality of the programming and the service that he gives the community with the community, Northern Berkshire Community Television. I think it's a great service, and he is master at his craft in there. And I've, through different debates and stuff, we've been on TV, and of course the council meetings every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. They provide excellent service in bringing this forum to the people of the city of North Adams and surrounding towns. A little bit of history in the cable. At one time, cable systems were to bring in local channels into areas where there were none. We live in a mountainous area. We can't put an antenna on a roof and get channels 6, 10, and 13 out of the Albany area. So we have to have the cable. At the beginning, it was a reliable type of service, and then they added the extra channels. The older TVs couldn't get them, so we all bought cable-ready TVs. And with the cable-ready TVs, you could get the extended channels. Now that we've gone digital, the new TVs are still capable of receiving a lot of these signals, but the problem is that a lot of them are encrypted or scrambled, so our TVs will not work. What I would like to see in any new contract is a basic tier of channels that bring in the local broadcast stations, including our local community access channels. We need it on the lower tier of channels, so those of you who don't have the newer sets or don't want to spend this extra money on the cable boxes to be able to receive these. And it doesn't matter if you have one television, you have 6 televisions, you can get that on any TV in your house as long as you're a Spectrum cable subscriber. Also, it would be important to see that Spectrum keeps our office on Curran Highway open. There's a lot of people that like to pay their bills in person. If there's a problem, they like to speak to a human face-to-face. You call a call center, it goes to Philadelphia, it goes to Orlando, Florida, or wherever, and you don't have any connection. This person does not have any connection with the community. And it's important. We're a small, close-knit community. We need that connection. We have a lot of elderly folks that still rely on the face-to-face connection. We're not all cell phones like a lot of the younger generation. We're not all cell phones. But the technology is changing. And again, reiterating on what Mr. Green and Ms. Hoyt have been saying, the Spectrum app needs to include these local access channels in the apps so that everybody can have access to them. And I'm one that I encourage anybody to get involved, come down, see the council meetings, or be able to watch it on TV. I consider that a privilege of being a democracy, and I'm glad we were able to do that. But I'd like to see something really good happen with this and get a good local tier, including the public access channels, into this area at a reasonable cost, so we don't have to spend $1,250 a month for a special box just to get these channels. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Sapienza. Bob?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm Bob Norcross. I'm on the select board in Clarksburg, and I'd just like to thank Dave again. We appreciate all you do for the local communities. And after talking to people, it's funny, the black box definitely seems a big issue. And I'll just to give an example. In my house, it's just my wife and I. We have only 2 TVs, but I have one downstairs because I'm a weaver and I have a loom, and that's where I relax and I like to watch TV. I'm not going to get a black box for $12.50 a month for that. So, of course, I have to listen to opera or whatever I listen to while I'm weaving. But it seems like it's such a waste of money. There should be one black box for the house. You should be able to have as many TVs hooked up to it as you want. And also, I do agree that the cost of increase has been going up like $1 a year. I mean, that's like 10% every year for the black box, and that is really not fair to anybody. Also, Clarksburg, we have about a third of our population is elderly, and they get a lot of them get basic TV that I found. So it's a very basic that we get, including myself. And there's we don't watch a lot of TV, but there's a lot of channels that looks like, oh, even basic, you get 20 channels or whatever, but so many of them are repeat channels, especially on the upper end. And it's like, that's not all the channels we're getting. I really would like to see a system where I realize you have to be a basic charge, but you're charged for what channel you want. I could get by with like 5 channels, and that's basically all I watch in a year. And my wife even watches less. So I would like to have a place where we can eliminate channels that we don't want to watch and get a deduction for every channel we eliminate. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me, and thank you all for your comments. Oh.
We're lonely, Bob.
Thank you.
Come on, Clarksburg. Thank you, Mr. Norcross.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I had a selectmen's meeting that I
No,
just got out.
we appreciate you being here. Did I miss any state or local officials? I don't think so. Okay, so the fun part is all of you, the important part. So we'll move the microphone around and hand it to you, but we ask that you stand up, name, address, community for the record.
We'll start in the room and then go to
Yep, so we're
Zoom.
gonna start in the room and then we have our friends online, and we won't forget about you online. Eric?
My name is Eric Wilson. I live at St. Joe's Court. I got a question. Thank you helping local channel. People are using it. We are getting information. I watch it once in a while. Even though it's a little boring at times, beside the point. But
Get on that, dude.
only thing I'm really concerned is like with the elderly. Some of the elderly can't afford the internet, and it is getting a little ridiculous. Some of the channels, like you said, I don't even watch, and why am I paying for that? And I didn't know it was a law. They didn't tell me or tell some people about that. And another thing, I'm trying to represent people with disability. Can we have a discount for people with disability, the elderly, so they can be part of it? If we can get everybody on, it will pay it for itself. And it's more common sense. I know people got common sense, and I know out there got common sense, whoever a cable company, Spectrum, be considerate of other people because it's so important, responsible. Especially it could be your mother, or it could be your uncle, or your father, high prices. Why you want to put high prices on ours when you don't have it? So just be courtesy of it, and I would really appreciate it. And I would love to have a discount because money only goes so far. And I know a lot of people talk to me about certain things in this community. So I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. My name's Carlo Pellegrini. I live at 3 Moores Road on Florida Mountain, next to the Whitcomb Summit, which is called something else now. And I came to this community about 4 years ago, actually, with my wife. We moved out of New York to come here to winter in the Berkshires. And because we're on a circus, this is where we create new shows in our barn. And as soon as we found out there was a public access station, we went crazy. We just said, this is great. This is like going to heaven. And we were creating a show on Zoom immediately after the pandemic started. And Dave somehow caught one of our episodes and said, why don't you come down to the studio and take a look and see if we can help you out? And with 3 cameras and a robot on, and it was much better than my laptop. And in support of Dave and NBC TC and his entire staff, we can't thank you enough. We've created a children's television show called The Circus Corner with Mr. Amazing. That's me. Kids name me that. But Dave has taught us how to actually film a show. Paul has advised us on puppets. Joanne has advised us on the educational points. Peter, who's in the back room, is a great director too. And I can't say enough about how valuable that experience is. And it fulfills the objective of public access TV, which is narrowcasting for a local audience, creating content by the local audience, and giving it back to the local audience. And that's what the FCC had in mind when they had this brainchild. I can't really address all the fees and things that you're talking about because up on the mountains we don't get Spectrum. Sorry. So I have to watch it from the studio. I come in and film a show and watch it in the studio. And it reminds me of my mom when she was older. She kept the TV on for comfort, right? And for company. And with the programming here, it's important that it continues. And if I had one myopic request, it would be higher ceilings at the studio so I can hang aerials from the rafters. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
Anyone on this side? Eric?
I'm Eric Buddington. I live on Warren Street in North Adams. I learned how to coil cables about 20 years ago, thanks to Paul Marino. The shows that go out we have them in high def. I mean, we at the TV studio. They look great. I don't understand why Spectrum has not cooperated in sending them out. It seems like it should be easy for the cable company to send out our high quality signal, as good as it is. Public access television helps. I mean, I know a lot of you in the room here. You're great people. One reason I know that is because I see a lot of you at public access. I see some of you on public access. Keeping us in touch matters a lot for democracy, for keeping us informed, for bringing up the next generation of reporters and people who will serve on commissions and committees and the council. We need that public involvement, and that's what public access gives us. For that to work, there's the nuts and bolts technology, and we need better technology. We need to have better setups at all of our public buildings so that Dave doesn't have to run around several times for meetings to set up and to take down. We need to have the equipment on site. We need to have people trained. We need to have better communication, better links between the studio and the field sites where the sports events are recorded and where the meetings happen. We need all of those basic things to work better. And we need better cooperation from Spectrum, and we need better funding to make all of this happen. We have the people to make this happen really well. We have the community. What we need is the funding and the technology to make it work better. Thank you.
Anyone else on this side? Amber? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Amber Reese. I'm the Executive Director of the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition. I also live at 134 Brooklyn Street here in North Adams. And I want to say, like, this is so important to us. Our relationship with NBC-TC is long. We have the honor of the recognition of the longest running TV show as an organization on this channel, and we have our certificate proudly displayed in our office. I love that I just found out Christine Hoyt watches that show. I'm not really sure who does. Sometimes I hope people don't. We're not exactly the most skilled. I am not Mr. Amazing on our TV show, for sure. But we do love it. And I wrote some things to say, and that is NBC-TC channel is a vital community resource for our region. The station enables our residents and neighbors to watch uniquely local programming about and for their community, as well as provide information about local events and news that are of interest to them. Public access TV is important and valuable to our organization, to the region, and the residents who live here. NBC-TC provides a platform of self-expression and community dialogue, provides access to local government and information, and for many, it is a way for them to reduce their social isolation and maintain a connection with the community in which they live. In our region, we have value for arts and culture, and this is a cultural resource that we want to protect, support, and advance. NBCC believes that this channel plays an important role in our ability to meet our mission and our work, and we are proud to partner with them. We also want to restate the need for the streaming ability on the Spectrum app. Thank you, Dave, for everything you do.
Thank you, Amber.
Paul, that is.
Hello, my name is Richard Desati. I live at 472 Walnut Street in North Adams, Mass. And I told Dave one thing that I was going to say is I've had a public access show. I do it with some other people. We've been doing it for over 10 years, and it provides a community service because my neighbors, coworkers, and friends don't have to listen to me spout off. I do it during the show, and then they can just shut me off, and they don't have to listen to it. So it really provides a public service for the entire community. That's on a personal level. But we do talk a lot about corporate greed. I don't know if that's entering into some of the problems here or not, but, you know, my grandmother always says you got to take it where there's a lot and put it where there's a little. And I think this is a really valuable resource where you should put some money into. Like some words that I heard, valuable community resource, definitely. I think it should go to the lower channels, 15, 16, 17, it should be there. I have Spectrum Wireless Network, so I can't get it. So, you know, I think that, you know, we should include is this the terminology, including PEG in the streaming app? That's what I think it should be done. And have all the local channels on the lower dial. I have a 93-year-old neighbor, and he lives alone. He's been a widower for a long time, and that cable TV is very important to him, but he just has that little box, and he only gets just a few channels. And when he talks to me, all he talks about is like news that he gets out of Albany. He doesn't have access to the community TV, and I'm sure he would like to see that. Another person that I ran into in my travels, this guy I used to work with a long time ago, he was just on his lunch break at Cascade Paper, and I started talking to him, and I mentioned about the cable access TV show and he said, station, and he said, they don't do that anymore. I used to like to watch the city council meetings, but I can't get that anymore. I said, no, it's there. It's just you don't have access to it. Here's a guy who's been working all his life working hard at a low-income job, and he thought his access to the city council meetings was no longer available. So I just want to encourage you to help make us a community. We've lost our local radio station. We lost our local newspaper. We do have the digital one, but I'm talking about the actual North Adams transcript. So this North Adams community television really unites us as a community. We're one economic area in North Berkshire, and the community television helps bring that economic group together. So thank you.
I am Nancy Bullitt, and I live at 30 Johnson Street in North Adams. Jay, thank you for bringing that up about the streaming, because that's how I live, is on streaming, and do miss my access to community TV. It is a void that it's supposed to be filled with public access, but public access is limited unless you can pay for it. So I encourage Spectrum to consider bringing it down to lower channels and also allowing it to be part of our streaming services. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Bill Wilson. I'm Pastor Bill Wilson, and I live at 22 Lincoln Street in Adams. And I have just begun my 10th season broadcasting on Northern Berkshire Community Television. And I love it, and I'm very, very deeply grateful for it, because I have a passion to share the Lord. I love the Lord, and I have a passion to share my faith. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. So I want to begin by saying that it's a terrific opportunity that is provided for producers like myself. And obviously, some of that money does come from the cable company. So I want to give them credit for that. I also want to mention that it is a privilege to be able to speak over such a vibrant and effective medium as Northern Berkshire Community Television. When I'm up there and I'm preaching in the power of the Holy Spirit, and I know that it's going out with great technology and people are watching, it's a great entity. But what makes it great, the technology's great, the facility's great, as Dave was mentioning. When I first started, we were down at Heritage State Park,
in something that was it was a little less than glorious. And I will keep this short, even though my sermons aren't usually short until one of Dave's people goes. But I want to just take a moment and tell you that, and it has been mentioned, but the thing that really makes Northern Berkshire Community Television great, what it is not just the facility or the technology, but the people. And I was happy to see Paul Marino walk in tonight because he was the one that kind of got me started as a director. And I can't, what's that?
Producer, sir. Producer. You're a producer.
No, you started as a director. Right? Shut up, Paul. Paul really helped me. It's different. Father Darius will probably tell you it's different speaking on television if you don't have a congregation. And Paul helped me make that transition by making me laugh before every single program. So thank you, Paul. But I wanna acknowledge Dave Fabiano, because Dave is the one that I started with. I went and called on him one day, and I thought it was going to be a difficult thing, and he just made it smooth as silk. This is a dedicated man who has done a fantastic job for the community. And I served Berkshire County for over 23 years as the Director of Tourism, President and CEO of the Berkshire Visitors Bureau. So I've seen the effect of community television, not only in the ministry area where I'm in now, but in tourism, in commerce, in businesses, residents, schools, athletics, everything. So this is a wonderful, wonderful asset to our community. So I want to thank Dave, and I want to thank Joanne and Nicole, who are not here this evening. They are my new directors, Paul, after your time of there. So I want to thank all of them because they not only are competent, but they're personable, they're helpful, and they're a great encouragement. And so I am grateful for this asset that we have. And since I'm a pastor, I'm going to call it a blessing. How about if I call Northern Berkshire Community Television a real blessing? Because that's what I really mean. Amen, brother. Can I hear an amen? One last thing that I'd like to say is that I agree with the suggestions that have been made regarding certainly the streaming thing is very, very important to me. The high definition image is very, very important to me. And those have been said, and I won't repeat those. But as great as Northern Berkshire Community Television is, it's public television. And because of the pricing structures and tactics, more and more members of the public are just plain unable to afford it. And I'm comparatively well off. The Lord has blessed me greatly, but I can't afford it either. And Peter, I think you and I should sit down because I'm getting socked for $300 a month. And to me, that's outrageous. And I can't continue with it. I'm retired now, and it's going to go. But in any case, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I would really appeal to Spectrum to meet the requests regarding high definition and our names on the guide and the lower channels and the streaming. And I would remind you that more and more people are unable to keep up with your costs. Thank you very much.
You can go that way.
Thank you.
I'm Paul W. Marino. I live at 70 Vesey Street here in North Adams, and I'm the very first retiree from Northern Berkshire Community Television. So, and I'm very proud of having worked there for, what was it, 25 years?
At least.
Yeah, at least, nearly 30. As has been said, we have a very friendly, family-oriented atmosphere. When you become one of our producers or a volunteer with us, you become part of the NBCTC family, and that is extremely important. But I think it's also safe to say that if you watch NBCTC, you are also part of our family. That being said, Bill, I have some criticisms I want to throw your way. I remember when our channels got moved up into 4 digits, and I think we were told that Spectrum needed those lower channels for something else. I don't remember what. But if you look at those lower channels, a lot of them, well, I shouldn't say a lot of them, but you can find 2 channels back to back that are playing the exact same program and at the exact same time. You can switch from one to the other and not miss anything. So I think that's foolish. And also, wasn't there something about we were promised 15, 16, and 17 in perpetuity?
I don't remember that part.
All right, well, at any rate, that's something that needs to come back. We need to have our channels in the lower echelon. And there was something else. I can't remember what it is. It'll come to me. I'll raise my hand again. Thank you.
Well said.
This way.
Hi, my name is Julie Heritage. I'm at 1 East Street in Adams. Hi, Jay. I just want to make a comment. I agree with what Pete brought up as far as contract terms. 10 years. I used to work in the contract department at General Dynamics, and we never engaged in a 10-year contract. I mean, I think that's one thing that he brought up that I agree with very much so. It should not be any longer than 3 years. Pete had shared his bill with us, and I noticed it was dated March 1st. He probably didn't receive it till March 5th, and yet the bill was due March 11th. So I like to make Spectrum aware, if they're not already, that a lot of us don't understand what that billing cycle is all about. When we call up to say, hey, it's like, does this mean I'm past due? We're told over the phone, no, you really have 30 days. Well, then why isn't that shown in your bill? So we have a concern about that. I don't know if there's some elderly people who, like are really on top of their bills and they don't realize that they may have already paid it. And they may end up paying, twice in the same month. Personally, I don't do that because I make sure that I write down the date of that letter, and then I take 30 days and say that's when I make my call to make my payment. Pete also brought up, and I agree with him, that the rates, I just can't get over, like year after year, it's way above the inflation rate. So that's a hard thing to understand. And no one has mentioned the landline. Maybe not too many people have a landline still. I do. And it's like $20 a month now. And I just use it more as a backup. I remember not too long ago it was $10 a month, and now it's $20. And I don't understand if there's a maintenance involved or like why that cost is so high. So those are my concerns.
How about down here? How about letting some people down here speak? Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name's Dave Emery. I'm from Clarksburg. I just have a few things to bring up about Spectrum. And I don't know if everybody else feels the same way, but they have a monopoly on us. They control everything we do because there's nobody else to go to. You're stuck with them, no matter what you do, unless you get a dish or find another way. I mean, Starlink is coming, and we're going to start looking that way. But a couple other things. Their billing practices are awful. They bill you a month ahead, but then they tell you you're late when you get the bill. When you buy your electricity, you pay it at the end of the month. When you buy anything, you usually pay it at the end of the month, and it should be billed at the end of the month. I don't know if anybody or everybody in here has really, really looked at their bill and looked at all the charges that are on there. John Barrett, I drive him nuts because he knows Spectrum has gone up almost every year on the average of around $5. And every time they've gone up, I filed a complaint at the FCC. They love me down there. Then I get a call from Spectrum asking me why, what my concerns are, why am I not happy. But like everybody here, they said maybe the boxes have gone up $1, but I can tell you what my bill is right now. And we really kind of get the basic. But if you break it down, Spectrum TV, the receiver is $12.50 a month. We're old, we don't stay up late.
Use the mic, please.
We use a DVR.
Oh, yeah, could use the microphone, he would.
Yep. We use a DVR, and it's all in the same box. It's another $12, $13 a month. We did get the basic Spectrum TV Select because there are some of the upper channels that I like to watch, but mostly we watch probably the bottom low channels, 2 through 13. Occasionally we go up, but there are duplicates like everybody said in here. On top of that, you have a Wi-Fi service. They charge you $7 to get Wi-Fi, although you're still paying for the Spectrum internet, which could probably, with the technology, be one box and you get Wi-Fi and the internet together. And whenever I've called and asked about the charges on the box, they've always told me that you're paying for, if something goes wrong with that box, you don't own it. We own it. We'll take care of it. But all of us have probably paid for those boxes tenfold. I mean, in serious. And they buy thousands and thousands of them.
Can you make sure you're talking into the mic so they can hear you at home?
Yep. So I'm always complaining about Spectrum. You know, I mean, it's just another thing. So they charge you another $25.75 for broadcast TV surcharges. I don't know what that is. $12 administration or 12 cents in administration fee, state franchise fee, local government franchise fee is $7.41, and then the local government PEG capital fee is 29 cents. But we pay $238 for basically just to watch TV. But we do record on the DVR. But the DVR is its own box in itself. It has a DVR recorder in there, records on a hard drive, and you choose the channels that you want to pick. But I've been talking to John Barrett about it all the time. I told not too long ago it went up another $5 a month. I called Spectrum and they said, well, you knew about it. I said, I'll bet you everybody in here didn't look at their bill to see that it was going up $5 a month. And that was just this year. I think last year it went up another $5. John took my bill, brought it to Boston, and he said, there's really not a lot we can do. I guess what it comes down to is we all need the internet. We all need the internet for medical, I mean even dental, for to get appointments for things, to get on the local and federal government, to pay bills, to do all kinds of things. The internet should be a utility. And our local and state and federal government should be on the federal government and the state to turn the internet into a utility and bring that price down to half or less. It's getting that way, but it just keeps on being put on the back burner. I probably have a few more things to say, but I won't. I'll cut it short because some of the ladies over here want to talk. But mention it to John Barrett. When you see him, talk to him. Tell him that you're concerned. Yeah, I see him all the time.
I know. And you say it's your phone.
Yeah. So.
We'll start over here with Mrs. Grant. Switch and
I was here before her.
Starting it to you now.
Yes, I'll send it to you.
We're gonna start with Mrs. Grant. I'm gonna take that microphone because I don't want it to die.
I'm Rachel Branch, and I live at 600 Main Street in Dalton. The Northern Berkshire Community Television Corporation is an essential communications forum in North Adams, Adams, Cheshire, and Clarksburg, and its continued presence in Northern Berkshire must be sustained and maintained. NBCTC's public access, educational access, and governmental access channels are a necessary part of preserving our First Amendment rights by offering free, clear, and pertinent local programs to our communities. Its preservation is even more important and impactful with the loss of so many community institutions for information, especially our local newspapers and/or any other resources for public information. NBCTC is especially essential to provide the knowledge and informed citizenry requires when participating in civic and government policies. This cannot be overestimated. As a resident of Berkshire County for over half of my life and a creator and producer of Solutions Rising, an NBC TC program, now in its 12th year, I have both the background and nearly 20 years of experience working with the staff of NBC TC and have deep knowledge of their commitment to our area communities and their significant contribution to each of the communities NBCTC serves. It is an honor and a pleasure to speak on behalf of Northern Berkshire Community Television Corporation, and I thank you. But something I also want to say is, as a result of Dave Fabiano and the great NBCTC staff and what they have provided me in all the years I have been part of this, I have been able, my program, Solutions Rising, is now carried on 15 other community TV stations, including across the Commonwealth and including Albany, New York, Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Bennington, Vermont. I have no idea where my program goes, but one of the things, I am a fighter for climate catastrophe and have been doing that since 1997, and I have been told my program was part of the reason we stopped Kinder Morgan Tennessee Gas. And climate catastrophe is at the top of the list for our upcoming children and the grandchildren to follow. I cannot even begin to tell you how important I believe community television is. And I am very honored to be here this evening. Thank you. Thank you. That was great. I'm Diane Parsons. I now live in Adams at 7 Grant Street. I've probably been a customer of cable TV for, however many providers there have been in North Berkshire, and now a customer of Spectrum, cable only. The reason I will not bundle and will not have anything else is because I've heard the horror stories when you bundle. The West End can't get internet, Mohawk Trail can't get internet, and anyway, I've been a customer and I have been a producer of local access TV. I am now a cable customer only because of local access TV and BCTC. And I try to tell everybody I know that. Now about this hearing, I'm so glad you're here, and I agree with many of the things that Peter and others have said about the long-term contract and enforcement of the contract. And I want to say that the channel change drove me insane. And I agree that there were people who didn't know they could still get local access because they were still going to 14, 15, 16. All right? It's not just that local access is almost out of reach, and I've had to tell numerous people where to find it. The other problem is we no longer get Channel 5 in Boston. We're in Massachusetts. We get all of the Tri-City channels in New York State. That's your basis. And if I want to get Springfield, it's Channel 22, but guess where I find it? Channel 14. If I want to get Channel 4, Boston, I have to go to Channel 3. Something is wrong with that picture. Okay, so I have one TV. I have, since I've lived alone, only one TV. And I have a box. And what I found out was I could get this select menu, but before I did that, I tried to get rid of TCM, Turner Classics. What I found out is it costs a lot to get rid of a channel, and it costs they take little off your bill when you get rid of a channel, but if you want to put it back on, it costs a lot. So now I have this menu-driven, which only cost me about $63 when I started, and that was one of the selling points, and I could pick my own channels. I picked other things than I wanted sometimes. But anyway, that's gone up more than $30 now in less than a year, okay? The rates are outrageous. I agree with what everybody has said. I feel bad. You know, I'm a senior citizen. You only have to look at me. I'm lucky to be mobile. There are a lot of people who are not mobile, who really depend not only on their cable TV, but to local access, as I said, and I want to repeat it. The only reason I still have cable TV through Spectrum is because of NBCTZ. If I didn't get local access, I would not be a customer. I telephoned 3 or 4 people who have complained to me, and I told you I used to answer the phone for our state representative. I can't tell you how many calls we got about Spectrum rates and actually the way it came over TV trouble they were having. I called the 4 or 5 people who said, I don't have it anymore. I couldn't afford it. So I want to tell you that. You need to look at those rates. You need to look at where those channels are, and you need to be a better provider for a longer period of time. Who does enforce the contract here? Is that you?
Oh, does it? Yes, thank you, Sarah.
I'm sorry. You don't have to answer that.
No, I'm happy to, because I'm the city's attorney, not Charter's attorney. So, the administration and enforcement of a cable license is one of the things that throughout the Commonwealth often falls through the cracks. Now, North Adams does a better job than the vast majority of communities I work with, but they could still do a better job, as we've heard here today. And so what I tell towns and cities is enforcing a cable license is a much easier task than negotiating a new license. And so I've had the opportunity now to work with Mayor Maxey, We've discussed issues of making sure that the payments are right and the city is on top of that. And with respect to the question of the location of channels, it's a challenging issue. But just because a city may be precluded under federal law from enforcing something as a violation doesn't mean that you can't have your voice heard. And by being heard here tonight, we're taking notes, and Charter is listening, and the concerns raised are serious concerns, and the interests raised are serious interest, and we'll be negotiating that with Charter at the table. One thing that strikes me, and the last thing I'll say on this, is that if a company has a problem with services that they provide, that's a problem or a challenge. If a company has a problem with the pricing, that's a problem. But if a company, and I'm not making a judgment here, but if a company has a problem with both service and pricing, that's a real problem. And so Charter's here today. I know the government affairs representative who I've met, who's filling in for the person who did the licensing, who does government affairs out of Connecticut and does an excellent job at that, and is here today because she's concerned about listening to what you have to say. So we'll be discussing this at the table, and I'll continue to discuss it with the mayor, who is on top of this, as any mayor I've worked with in the past. So I think we'll do the best we can, knowing there are some things we can't do under federal law, but we can still raise the issue and discuss it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to pass this on to my pastor and to say one more thing, that during the pandemic, it was very important to me to get my mass, and I'm sure everybody got religious services over local access. So thank you again, Dave, Paul, and Pete, who we can't see, but I know he's doing the electrical stuff.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Father Dariusz Udarski. I am the pastor of St. Elizabeth of Hungary Parish. And David, thank you very much for your sensitivity that you showed to our community during especially COVID time. The service that the Northern Berkshire Television Corporation provides to our local community is invaluable. And especially since COVID, our faith community of St. Elizabeth of Hungary Parish in North Adams has been able to provide weekly Mass on local public television access channel. And I think what's important is that our most vulnerable viewers, and we can't forget about them, because they used to be able to be with us, and now they are not. So who cannot be with us physically at church. We are talking about the homebound, the sick, the hospital, people who are hospitalized, or nursing home, or hospice patients, have benefited from the access that the local television has provided. It's a beautiful tool that is greatly appreciated, and I just want you to know, David, that this is magnificent work. And I know that, there are some glitches, but, we are working through it, and you are open to it. You think outside the box. And as a Catholic community, it is vital for us to continue this much needed outreach and connect with those who are seeking to fulfill a spiritual void in their ordinary day and also in their time of need. So my only hope is that this invaluable evangelizing vehicle will continue to enhance our current and future realities of our community. God bless you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Virginia White. I live at Village East in North Adams, which is an elderly community. of low-income housing people. A few weeks ago, we all received a notice telling us that that the cable company we had to return our boxes to the cable company or UPS, and that they were going to install new boxes and we would be charged $49 for them. My concern is East Point Property, who owns the project, has a contract with Spectrum, and they have a worker on the premises. There are 9 people that don't have cars up there, and there are 5 people that do not come out of their house. One man is a Russian man who does not speak a word of English. And it would be impossible for these people to return the boxes to Spectrum or to UPS. And the majority of us cannot afford a $49 fee to install these boxes. And my concern is, I think that East Point should be responsible for returning the boxes and possibly paying the fee. That's my concerns.
Hi, I'm Linda Neville. I live at 480 Houghton Street in Clarksburg. I feel I have come tonight and I am meeting, I'm in a reunion. Everybody here pretty much, I've been involved in educating historical societies, all sorts of things, and it all revolved around the public television station. So thank you, Dave. I was involved with History Works with this guy and Professor Wicker. I can't forget him. He was the puppet. Paul was underneath the podium, but the point was that whatever the people at this television station knew about putting on a program, they shared their knowledge. I was with Paul also when he went on the cemetery walks in the area, and we found valuable information for families who had left the area and were trying to find a gravesite of a family member. This station is family to me. When COVID hit, I was teaching in the adult basic ed program at MCLA, and most of our students, they ranged from 16 years old to 60 and up. They did not have computers. We could not Zoom when COVID hit. I went to Dave and Joanne, Paul, Peter. I said, I need to do something that we can do on a television set, not a computer, a television set. And that year, September 2020, until I believe it was Inauguration Day, I taught 4 subjects in the Berkshire adult education program. And those students of mine were still able to watch on television. There was the call-in feature. I had people who were illiterate in this area, and they would call on the phone and say, "Hi, I'm watching." And it brought us together, even though COVID was trying to separate us all. And it was through the help of that public TV station. I know we're talking about Spectrum and the internet and the things that provides. Those are new technologies for a lot of people in our area. But technology should not hurt people. It should be helpful for the future, and without ignoring the past. You know, we're building a community or we're not. So if there's any way that Spectrum can lower the costs, put those channels back on the lower edge of the channel, or at least in the program guide, and make it accessible. If you don't have access to information, you are out of the group. You know, we are all citizens. We are the consumers. You are the business. We are saying, change what you're doing if it's possible. I was in business. You need to make money. It's a profitable thing that you're trying to do. But you must think about the communities that you're working with. And if you can give public TV what they deserve in technology to continue with the high resolution and any of the programs that are on the public television now, to run videos, you need new equipment that can take that. And I'm not a techie, but I know them. But I am very grateful to the public television station. And one thing that I was thinking about, and I had no idea, but any program that's been on NBCTC has been archived in a site called WebQuest. All of my lessons are there. I was shocked. I appreciate that because they're archived. If I want to see what I did on January 20, the inauguration day, and it was an hour-and-a-half program, I can see it. I can hear the questions from my students. It's a wonderful archive. It's got the city hall, all of the town hall meetings, everything that you filmed. It's a great archive. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Paul Marino in. Linda, something else that you may not be aware of is that all of our programming is also going out on YouTube. So our viewership is literally global. But the thing that I remembered that I wanted to mention before, several people have mentioned those boxes that you need to watch cable. Those are totally unnecessary here because, as the gentleman behind me said, they have a monopoly in Berkshire County. If there were even one other cable company serving this area, well, yes, they would need the boxes so that you control, so they can control what you're watching. But there is no other cable company. They are the only cable company serving this area. So why do we need a box that unscrambles the signal? We don't. They do to make some extra money, but we don't. And that's something that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
I'm Lois Hescock, and I live at Village East as well. And this is the notice that we got. And it says we will be getting new cable boxes in the coming week. You will be receiving new ones from Spectrum. The old boxes will be obsolete in the near future. You are responsible for returning the old boxes to Spectrum or UPS, as well as self-installing these new boxes that they're going to deliver. Now, I wouldn't have the slightest idea what to do with that box. I have a hard time with my cell phone.
As we know.
Okay, and what's I going to say? If you wish, Spectrum will install the new box for $49. More information will be provided by Spectrum when the boxes are delivered. We understand it's an inconvenience, but must move forward with the new boxes in order to keep the cable TV service in your home. I can't afford another $49, to put the box in after they send it to me. So that's my complaint.
We got two more, and then we'll go back.
Thank you.
I know it's 7:30. I know people want to get home. My name is Bob Davis, 36 Autumn Drive, North Adams. Thank you, everybody, for your valuable input. Thank you, Dave Fabiano, Attorney Solomon, all the counselors and school committee members. It's unbelievable how many people from the religious to up and down the scale. Seems to be more important than most political meetings that I've seen on cable access. So it's certainly valuable to the community to hear this. Peter, I have 7 grandchildren and 8 TVs in my house, and I'm certainly, when my wife said we should have boxes in all the TVs, I said, let's just say no. So we have one so we can watch the program, and then we purchased these things called Roku. I don't even know what Roku is, but you get 1 million channels on this. I'm not here to repeat. I mean, I read all the FCC rulings, and I didn't even know what PEG meant until I read it. It meant Public Educational Government. So that's the channels 15, 16, 17 I used to watch it on, and I can't elaborate any more than what everybody said. High def, I've been involved with Northern Berkshire Community TC for over 30 years when it was down on Heritage State Park. I've been volunteering as a camera person, a videographer, whatever you call it, for programs, education, cooking programs, musical programs. I've been involved with Rachel. I've been involved with pretty much everybody in here. But the problem is, not only do I volunteer, but I also, Dave helps me, Paul helped me, Peter, everybody, Eric. When we're programming and we see the beautiful pictures from these high-def cameras that we have now, they look beautiful down at the community at the station. When I get home and watch them, the picture's terrible. There's no high-def coming out on 1301, 2, or 3, whatever I happen to watch it on. So, yes, it's very important that we get high definition on the televisions. And of course, programming, we would love to see what's coming up. I'd love to see when Rachel's program or Dick's program or Bill or whoever else, Paul's program. It's just, you just have to hope that you're lucky enough to see it. So, yeah, those are three very important things: technology, access, and the price. Forget it. Yeah. Like I say, I feel bad for everybody, but I just said, no, I'm not paying it. And that's it. I want to cut it short because I know people want to get going. So,
yeah, Bob,
thank you, Paul.
We do have a schedule on each of our channels.
Yeah, I know, but you can't see it on regular TV.
Hey, let's go out. Can we go to, do you want to go to Dave and then we'll
Just
go to
one quick,
Isaiah?
like 1 second. If these people up at if these people at Village East need help, we could set up some volunteers to go up there and help them put their boxes in, so that they don't have to. I'll volunteer to go up and help them out, and I'm sure we could get some other people to go up there and spend an hour or so every day or here and there to go up and help them. I would.
He would. Yeah.
No, I got one. Can we go back? Yes, I will. Thank you. Hi, I'm Nancy Walker. I live at 6 Milton Drive in North Adams. I live in a modular mobile home unit just above Autumn Heights and Daniels Road. There's about 70 homes up there. 2/3 of them right now are us little baby boomers who never thought we'd be 65, but somehow Mother Nature had other plans. And the rest of them are all very elderly people that can't get around or have very limited access to get around. The Spectrum trucks live there. I'm not kidding. We could build a she shed up there, and they could live there year-round. They are there every day of the week. They've been at my house 9 times since August. 9. They have changed routers, modems, installed wires, taken wires out. They've told me every technician that has come up there did something wrong. They're going to fix it the right way. The last thing we heard was that we are at the end of the line. Mohawk Forest has the monopoly on the end of the street. The lines coming forward from Mohawk Forest up the Mohawk Trail are now pretty much like a deadline. We get what's ever left over. It's like, you know, the last little runt at the table with your puppy. We get what's ever left over. Our TV stations buffer every 5 to 7 minutes, constantly. If I'm watching the little Geico guy on a commercial, it's the Today Show that's playing, but it's the Geico guy that's talking. And he's not even there. I'm watching Hoda, but she's not talking. They buffer, they go off, they have to reboot, the sound goes off, the TV goes black. We're not compensated for that money when we can't watch TV, or if it takes 3 or 4 days for the guys to get up there to fix it. I work. I'm supposed to be retired. I still work every day. I have a spouse that's home that has issues, that cannot work, and he watches the TV. Channel 6 will say, oh, The Price is Right is on at 11 o'clock, but it's Jennifer Hudson. It's not The Price is Right. Same thing at night. There'll be a special on TV. It's not the special. It's Dances with Wolves or something that they've dubbed in. Nothing is the same. And it's not just me. My friend Barb, we go through it every day. We call each other, your TV buffering? Yep. What channel? 13. What channel? 6. It's just not right. I was supposed to have high spectrum. Don't have high spectrum TV definition. Takes forever to get it, and then it's always going off. So I don't know if it's a wiring issue that they need to come and do maintenance on the new wires and just go through the whole top half of the city and do all new wires all the way up to make the information better so that we can get our information. But, you know, it's terrible when you're watching or you're trying to do even like a doctor's appointment, like you said, you're trying to book a doctor's appointment and your internet stops on you, and then it goes back to Google. You've got to start all over again. So that's all I have to say. I know it's running late and people have other things to do, but just I think we need new wires.
If I can ask, Ms. Walter, can I have your address, if you don't mind?
It's
After you can tell me afterwards or now.
You can have it now. It's
Sure.
6 Milton Drive, and it's North Adams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Isaiah Moore, 43 Highland Ave, North Adams. Believe it or not, as like the 20th person to speak, I have nothing new to add. But I was told that apparently seconding and echoing voices is helpful to the mayor and the representative. So I'm going to give you a little extra firepower and say that I would love to see NBCTC added to streaming. I would love to see something done about these black boxes. The pricing sounds like it's outrageous. I, as a young person and just got out of college, do not have a lot of money myself, so I cannot afford cable. I would love to be able to watch local programming. Who else had problems? Let's see. Yeah, no, that's pretty, yeah. Just echo everything else that's been said tonight, and then I'll let it go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Corinne Case, 17 East Road. I have 2 quick questions, and 2 quick comments. The first is what I'm angry about. 35 to 40 years ago in Foxborough, Mass., I was in my 20s, and now I'm an older adult. And we had the public access program begin. And I think it was the 70s, and this is where this question is. It seems to me there was a lawsuit that said that the cable companies had to provide local access because they took control of the land, laying cables or whatever. So I'm angry because we are begging for something that we are entitled to as citizens, taxpayers. So I'm angry that we're struggling because that was a contract or a lawsuit, as I understand, with the cable television. Maybe somebody can straighten me out there. Second question and comment is, I understand, and I've checked, that you can call Spectrum and say that you are low income and apply for an additional savings. I don't have the source right now.
That just ended this month. They're not going to do it anymore. It just ended.
I thought that was at the federal level too. Thank you. See, there's something, people mention community, how businesses and individuals work in community. And I'm upset about that too. But because I used to live in Pennsylvania and Adelphia had their cable company. This was the 90s, I guess. And you know, the very next town to the cable company did not have cable access, but it was going to Puerto Rico. It was going around to other parts of the country. I don't know what's going on with the cable companies. They've got it good, and it's on our backs. I'm going to stop with that. But one last thing is I was told, because of buffering and issues, that you could get a $5 benefit.
Don't spend it all in one.
Right, and you have to work to get that $5 repayment. Thank you.
I just have one quick thing just to add, to make it clear. PEG, Public Educational Government, is not paid by Spectrum. It's in your bill. It's in my bill, it's $12.55. It's a pass-through. We pay it on our bill. It's on page 2. And Spectrum is obligated to pay, I believe, quarterly to the public access. So we don't have to beg for it. We just have to make sure that they pass the money through to Dave.
Great, thank you. We're gonna go to some of the questions online. Lindsay, do you wanna take that?
I'll start with the messages and then we can go to the folks if they have anything else to add. So Joe Wood said competition is required, now is the time. Dale Waterman, he said, I no longer have Spectrum for cable. The customer service left too much to be desired. I tried to downgrade to TV by choice, but I never was able to get the lineup that I wanted. After 3 times of trying to rectify, I gave up and canceled the service. I stream for free all the programs and movies that I want to watch. The cost for Spectrum is prohibitive. And Dale also said, I hope that Spectrum does continue to provide funding for community access, part of any negotiated contract. It is vital to our community. Does anyone have any comments on Zoom? Just make sure you unmute yourself, as we cannot see you talking. No comments? We can proceed, Mayor.
Anyone else from the gallery or the floor that would like to speak? Yes, Mr. Wilson.
I had my turn and I'll be very brief, but I want to tell you a real live story that's happened repeatedly, and it breaks my heart. When I do my pastoral visits, and I know there are people that have watched my ministry on television, and I ask them if they've watched recently. No, we're really sorry, we can't afford cable anymore. And that breaks my heart. These are people that are bedbound. These are people that are stroke victims. And Pastor Darius was saying, these are people that can't get to church, and they're willing and able to watch on television, but they can't afford the cable. And so they lay there bound to their bed, and that breaks my heart, and that's inexcusable.
Hi, I'm Mark Pearson. I'm the IT director for the city. Some of the complaints I've heard about the service, I can tell you, I can confirm just from our own gear. So, we use Spectrum's internet service for some parts of the city. I use it at home. I live in Williamstown, 510 Henderson Road. And I can tell you, for a fact, it is not reliable. I don't know if we can put language in the contract for the future and maybe ask for performance metrics, something that we can hold our feet to the fire against. But you know, even in the city where the service is theoretically, you know, great, it's really not. Some of the equipment we have is very sensitive. We use a VPN service to connect our 3 sites plus my house through a site-to-site VPN over very high quality gear. The mayor has been gracious enough to let me actually have really good stuff for the city. And through that gear, I have visibility into kind of like how their stuff performs. It goes down a lot. You know, most of the times it's not like a hard down. And unfortunately, their help desk is not equipped to handle anything but something that is down hard. And so when it goes flaky, when you see buffering, and I think, and I don't know for a fact, but my gut and my background, I have 30 years of experience in IT, by the way, tells me that so the TV service is IP based. All the traffic going to your computer obviously is IP based, and I don't know if it's congestion or something else. The equipment is just poor. But yeah, we have. I mean, my God, one night my VPN. I was working on my budget. I had 20 alerts from our gear telling me that my VPN was bouncing up and down. Sometimes I couldn't feel it, only because I wasn't doing anything active. But the gear is sensitive enough to tell me that yes, there is an outage. And through our other sites, we have frequent outages that we don't notice, but I see it on the alerts. So yeah, there's something wrong with their service here in this town, or in this county. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Mark? Okay. So I'm going to be me, Jennifer Maxey, 111 Hospital Ave. I've had Spectrum since probably it was Adelphia Cable when I moved back from college. I have 4 boxes in my home. I do not have any fancy channels, and my bill went from $287 to $312. I was shocked. I have cable, I have internet, I have phone, and I don't really have anything special, maybe some sports channels so I can watch basketball. So the price itself is crazy, and I have a decent income. I live on Hospital Ave right next to the parking garage. I also have a significant problem with my internet service. So my main equipment is in my living room, but my office is towards the back of the house. And I was told the problem with my service is because it has to go through my appliances to get to my computer. So over a course of several years, I've been battling with this, and I finally just moved my laptop into my living room and enjoy my work with my dog instead of working in my comfortable office. I also am very concerned because, as most of you know, I have a 92, almost 93-year-old mother who's probably watching us tonight on local access. And she also is like many of you who can't operate the remote or who can't set up the cable box. And she's fortunate because she has me and I'm okay with navigating some of the stuff. But the customer service line to someone who doesn't know what they're doing is very difficult to navigate. And then, the people come to your house and they fix it, and the minute they leave, it goes back down again. So I talk to Mark regularly from a professional point of view about our bandwidth and traffic, but I don't think it's unique to a municipality or to a business. As residents, we're having the same problem. And for paying the amount of money that I do, and being a committed customer as long as I have been, I think we deserve better service and better quality. So that's Jennifer Maxey, 111 Hospital Ave. I'll go back to being the mayor. Anyone? Yes, Peter.
One thing that I did at my house, I've lived in the house, my wife and I and our children, for 40 years. And when it changed over to, I can't remember if it was Time Warner, one to the next one, I noticed the service part of it, and I had the fella come up, and what we looked at was the wiring in my house was about 30 years old, and I don't know if it was 57 or 59 wire, whatever the code of the wire the thing was. But what he said to me was, if you rewire in the house out to the pole, then you'll be a lot better. And I said, great, I'll go get the ladder, you can climb.
Yeah.
And he did. They ran it from my cellar all the way through one line. I said, I don't want any connections. All the way up the flag, it's like a stanchion over the garage, and back to the thing. I have high speed. I have high speed like there's no tomorrow by changing that wire. And we did that one line just to test it. And then I have, it's from Spectrum. It's a booster box where they all go into that one box in the cellar, and they go up to each room. So every grandkid can get, you know, the high def. And so it made a difference. And I said to him, I said, how did you get, he says, there's so much old wiring. He says, it's the houses, he says, we go put a TV and split it again and split it again, split it again. That's what's causing it a lot, because, you know, I would have Fox would just stop, wouldn't even do a single. So that's one thing that we should have in the contract, you know, that we should have new wiring. You know, it should be a minimum of 3 years old, you know, not 40 years old, because you're not going to get that, the streaming on the old wire. It's just not there. When you got the telephone, you got the Wi-Fi, you got the televisions going, and you know, and you got the cell phones kicking out. If you want to get the high speed, you got to rewire. And the cost to me was zero, because again, I think it was, when I was reading, it was 16.2. From the TV out is their equipment, and it's free. They have to come install it, because, you know, I'm like Mark, I've been in technology for 30 years, but I go, I don't know. And, you know, all of a sudden they come out with a big equipment. So we really need, as a community, to start demanding the service. You know, for us to, you know, take the equipment out, bring it down there, you know, have to go to that phone store where it's supposed to be for the cable. We really need to say the service needs to come back. Not just 8 to 5, you want to sell telephones. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Breen. Okay, so this concludes our ascertainment proceeding this evening. As referenced by special counsel, the city reserves the right to hold additional hearings as deemed necessary. I encourage all of you to email me, write me a letter, call my office with your concerns. We are creating a file. We have an ongoing file, and it's most helpful for us. We will make a digital record of all of this, but if you have a moment to write a little letter or send me an email, would you please do that? I just want to speak really to the Village East ladies. We will have a conversation with Ms. Young tomorrow about your situation, and we will see what can be done to help you specifically. Otherwise, we're going to deploy Dave and some volunteers. That's an excellent idea, Mr. Emery, but we'll help you through that. Okay? But all of you, please, this is very important. Your voice is very important to us. Please send us an email or a letter, or give Lindsay, this is my assistant Lindsay, I'm sorry I didn't introduce her before, give her a call, let us know your problems. Any call that comes into our office, we have conversations with Spectrum, and we will take all of this as we navigate our next contract into consideration. So with that, I thank you all very much for your time, your comments, your patience, and we're going to work towards doing better. So thank you all.